Hi, I'm Channing McCorriston, the container guy. Today we're going to be talking about using refrigerated shipping containers for container modifications. We also call them X-Reefers once we peel the refrigeration unit off the back. As you can see, these are amazing structures. They have a beautiful building envelope. There's tons of insulation in this container, and often you can buy this unit for next to the same price as what a steel non-insulated structure would be.
After landing a deal on national television in 2011, where his team pitched their idea of modifying shipping containers, he went on to start his own business. Since then, he's completed thousands of container modifications for clients in every major industry. Now he wants to teach you everything he knows about container modifications and accessories. Channing McCorriston is the container guy.
We're going to take a look at 53-foot X-Reefers, which are an intermodal container. These are 6 inches wider than an ISO container. They're meant to stay within North America and are used on roads and with trains, where the 20-foot and 40-foot ISO refrigerated containers, those are only 8 feet wide, and they're meant to fit in a vessel slot on a container vessel. I'll give you a little tour of the building envelope. So these here have a Fiberglass FRP panel. It's a white pebble finished panel, very similar to what's in commercial freezers or refrigerators. It's a nice panel, it's white, so it reflects the light very well. The container here has 2 inches of foam in the walls and 3.5 inches of foam in the floor and in the ceiling. It's a great building envelope where the foam actually continues around the top edge and then through the floor. There's basically 2 floors in this thing where the foam comes down the wall and under this aluminum T-slot floor, but then there's the I-beam cross members that are running below the foam structure as well. So they're a great building envelope, super easy to heat or cool. Disadvantage to this and the 20s and 40s is that aluminum T-slot floor, often people don't like it. What we do to make it a more usable floor and easier to clean is we'll take 5/8 tongue and groove plywood and lay it down. We can screw right through the plywood into the larger sections of the T-slot. It seems to hold it down very well. And then on top of that, we can take an epoxy floor coating or lay down, a nice vinyl flooring. Depends on what the customer is requiring for an interior finish. So here's a look at the back end of the container. This unit's already had the reefer removed off the back, and the plastic air deflector has been removed, and also we've peeled the entire tarp off the ceiling. This has only been boarded with just treated plywood. The customer using this specific one is only using it as an insulated cold storage unit. If we were to modify this, often we like to take cutouts from other containers, the same wall system, and then fill this hole. That'll allow it to be aluminum on the back side, still give you the 2 inches of foam, and then that nice white FRP panel finish on the interior. This here is our favorite way to fill these reefer holes, but we're only able to do it when we have remnant cutouts from other overhead door installations. So with this, we have a panel from the side of a can. We've left a flange all the way around, drilled, riveted through there, and then silicone the perimeter. And here's the interior view of the finished reefer hole. It's done the way we like to do it. It's got the FRP panel finish and then just foamed all the way around. But you can see this sits nice and snug and a nice matching finish to the rest of the container. The reason why we often use these containers as the canvas for a container modification is because typically the spray foam that's in this container alone is more expensive to apply and pay a contractor to do than it is to buy this entire structure. So this often makes the job, it's make or break for the customer whether they go ahead with it or not, because they don't have to frame, spray foam, and interior line the container. All that's left to do is just install the windows, doors, electrical, and any ventilation. Another cost saving for customers is that these containers are a smooth walled exterior, so we don't have to battle the corrugations for watershed. So I'll give you an idea. On the outside here, often customers can even install their own windows and doors, something they purchase at their local lumber yard, but just cutting a hole in the side of this container and not having to deal with any of that corrugation. Our framing kit that we have is less expensive for us to manufacture and therefore cheaper for the customer. Lastly, installing electrical in these is often cheaper because we don't have to strut line the interior. We can fasten our conduit to the wall and not worry about penetrating through to the outside. So electricians often can come right in here and start piping in their electrical switches, plugs. If there's something heavier that needs to be hung from the wall, often we'll still line it with strut, say to hang a heater or the panel, transformers, whatever. Something that needs to be wall mounted that's heavy. You don't want to just go right into your fiberglass wall. You'll want some structure there. But all in all, yeah, cheaper again for the electrical as well. Using these containers is often a low-cost alternative for customers. You might sacrifice a little bit in interior finish, but often the price tag at the end of the project is half. So we love using these. Customers in the past have used these for hunting shacks, cabins. We've built offices or office storage combos, job site tool cribs. I'm just spitballing here. There's lots, but master control rooms, air compressor shacks, many things. So we love these cans. Insulated ahead of time prior to lining your walls, totally the way to go. We'll give you an idea on what the 40-foot looks like next. So here we have a 40-foot X Reefer container. So this actually had a working Reefer on it, and we just missed the guys taking it off. These are an electric unit. They're 460 volt, 3-phase. They are much easier to remove. There's just the stainless steel bolts all along the perimeter. You hook a chain up to the top of it, lift, and it is removed. So yeah, it's a much larger hole as well than what the diesel unit leaves. But the reason why the 20s and 40s are electric and not diesel is because the container vessel or the storage yard will have shore power and be able to plug all these units in. So the vessels will generate 460 volt 3-phase power. So the interiors of 20-foot and 40-foot reefers are identical. They're all typically stainless steel lined interiors. They're only 91 inches wide rather than 97 on the 53-foot X reefers. So that's 6 inches wider, plus the stainless steel color. It kind of narrows up the space and doesn't make it feel quite as comfortable. And for that reason, we often go to the 53 for a lot of our modifications. That and sometimes the 40s and even the 20s are more expensive than the 53s. So customers can get that extra square footage for the same price, if not less. Same goes in 20s and 40s. They have the aluminum T-slot floor. The purpose of this floor is actually to return air when the reefer's running. So if this thing is full of pallets and there's not much room for the air to circulate, the cool air will flow above the pallets to the back door, and then it returns underneath the pallets. So it provides a nice even circulation and an even temperature inside these things. On that note, the building envelope, to talk about how well insulated they are, these things are designed to hold -40 and +20 and +20 in -40. So both ways, yeah, in the Arctic or in the desert, they can maintain an even temperature. And so if they can do that, with cargo, they can definitely keep that temperature for an office or for a job site shack. Side of the container, I'd like to point out, a downfall to the 20 and 40-foot reefers is they often get a lot more dinged up than the 53s. The 53s always seem to be just perfectly straight when we get them. And yeah, the 20s and 40s, I don't know if it's the way that people handle them across the planet or just less careful, but the structure is maybe a little bit more, I wouldn't say compromised, but it definitely isn't as cosmetic even after paint. Here we have a panel prepped and ready to install to fill the reefer hole. This panel is out of a 53-foot reefer. It's a good time to show you the wall cavity of the can. So you see there's aluminum structure in the container, and then the foam actually goes over the aluminum stud, so it provides you that nice vapor barrier so you don't have any condensation or frosting in the winter time. With this panel here, we've also, like for installation on the back end, we've left this flange here. This we will silicone. It allows us, once we lift it up, to fill the hole. We will self-tapping screw into the structure of the back end of the can, and then just on the interior give it a nice silicone, And yeah, it should be all sealed up, and now the reefer hole is just as insulated as the container is. The boys have the panel prepped, and they'll just be lifting it in place now. Shows how it's done. So that fits nicely there. We'll be able to self-tap all along the perimeter because we left that flange. And then this gives a nice aluminum exterior finish still, and the interior is finished with that fiberglass FRP panel. So there's a pretty comprehensive review of reefer shipping containers. If I didn't cover anything or there's any other questions that you may have, please feel free to leave a comment below. If you found this content useful, please give the video a like. If you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell for notifications, or visit us at tcg.ca. Hope you learned something.